What's up, everyone? Dylan here. I wanted to hop on and do a very short and sweet version of the weekly analysis video. Kind of give you guys an idea of where my head is at going into this week's CPI and PPI. Okay, so this is going to be very short and sweet as opposed to going into detail about different fundamentals. If you guys like this version of this type of video, let me know. Whereas if you guys prefer the fundamental stuff and the longer videos, let me know that as well. I kind of want to get a overall consensus of what you guys look for, okay? So last time we spoke, the market was in a range between about 5655 to the upside. That was the upper extreme of the range. And then the downside was at right around 5565, okay? So we'll draw this, 5565. So essentially, we had resistance up here at that 5655 to 5670, and then to the downside we had double bottom support at 5565, okay? The day that it broke just so happened to coincide with the VIX breakout above 17. Remember the last video I put out, I said if you're a bear, you want to see the VIX break above 17. That would give the bears the best chance at continuation to the downside in the S&P. Okay, so notice we had double top resistance at 17 on the VIX, and once it broke out, it was on Tuesday, September 3rd, which just so happened to coincide with this large breakdown, right? No coincidence there, okay? Then going forward, I said to the Discord, I said, hey, if we get a retest back at that 5565 level, it's probably going to act as resistance. Here's the receipt there, right? Previous range support on ES will be key if tested, right? Technically should turn into resistance, so it'll be a good spot to gauge strength and weakness, okay? Then I gave a little rule of thumb, and you could see clearly, right, we go to a 1 hour chart, that did in fact turn into resistance, right? So previous support, right, double bottom support, once it broke below, the first retest acted as a nice area of resistance, okay? So going forward, keep an eye on 5565. Usually the second or third retest is deemed as lower quality or lower strength. So technically, the second or third subsequent retest should not be as strong as the first. So in other words, going forward, if the S&P has some momentum, the next time it's up at that 5565 level, it should break. So if you're a bull, not only do you want to see it break above, but you also want to see it sustain value where dips above it start to get bought, okay? This would, that would look something like this, right? Let's just say we get up to there. You want to see it break above 5565, and then you want to see dips above it get bought, okay? That would be a good sign that the bulls are looking for higher prices and that they are, strong in absorbing the selling pressure, okay? So 5565, clearly a key pivot point, right? Previous support turn into resistance, okay? Going forward, the S&P had and the NASDAQ had one of their worst weeks last week, since 2023. So it was a pretty large week. If we go from open to close, the S&P dropped a little over 4%, which is, it's a big deal. So another thing that I said in the Discord was, hey, look at the 100-day moving average on the S&P 500 cash index, okay? That lined up with S&P futures 5405, but I just wanted to show you guys an idea of what this looked like. So the 100-day moving average this year in 2024 has been a key pivot area, right? You can see back in April, we had a large decline into that, and that acted as support, which produced a bounce to new all-time highs, okay? Then in August, you had a break below there, which then turned into a key resistance area, right? Where 3 different daily tests failed to sustain value above, and then it broke back above, and now we are retesting that area yet again. So the 100-day moving average on the S&P 500 cash index, not the futures, is very important. right? And you could see Friday it tested there, and then today it also tested down there overnight, and it produced a nice bounce. Okay, so we had that as well as oversold conditions on the RSI. So those two pieces of information, right? If we go to like a 4-hour chart, you could see the 4-hour chart on the S&P was in the oversold territory. So positioning was off sides. We were heading right into a 100-day moving average that has acted as support in the past in this year. So it kind of set up for a very, a higher quality long setup, if some folks caught it. Okay, so that remains a very, very important area going forward. Right now, it lines up with 54.05 on the cash index, which lines up with, let's see, S&P is trading 5475, US 500 is trading 5467, 8-point spread. So this 100-day moving average lines up with 54.13 on S&P futures going forward. Okay, so those are the key areas. Let me plot that out on here. Okay, so 54.13 now on S&P futures. Okay, so this is where it's at now going into the next few days. 54.13. And then on top of that, another area to the upside is the anchored VWAP from September highs on the S&P 500 futures. You could clearly see that this has acted as resistance not once, but twice and almost 3 times. Okay, so going forward, heading into CPI and PPI, downside, we have 100-day moving average on the cash index of the S&P 500, which if you're looking at S&P futures, it's 54.13. To the upside, we have anchored VWAP. Right now, it's sitting at 55.06 on the futures. And then above there, we have that 55.65 level. So those 3 areas, 1 to the downside, 2 to the upside, are where I am looking at going into the near future for CPI and PPI. That's Wednesday and Thursday. Okay, if these two break to the upside, the next level up is that area of previous resistance, clear resistance, right, from that 55 or 56.55 to 56.70 area. Okay, and then to the downside, if this 100-day moving average breaks, the next level down would be right around this area here, where we have seen a pivotal area on the 6-hour chart, right? You could see long wicks both to the downside and the upside. This was previous support, then it turned into resistance, and then support again. So if 54.13 breaches, the next level down in my eyes would be 53.31. Okay, so that's it for me. Like I said, very, very short and sweet. Those are the key areas with reasonings behind them that I will be looking at in the near term. Let me know if you like this type of video or the ones that are more in depth about fundamentals and other factors. Okay, peace.